Hello, welcome to Halton Mill, or should I say, welcome to Middle Low Mill, Halton, which is what it was historically known as when it formed part of a whole series of mills that stretched for a whole mile along the riverbank here in Halton. Today we're here just to look at the sort of current use of the mill rather than the historic use of the building, just so you get an idea of quite what we're talking about. It has a checkered history. It started off as an oilcloth works in the early 20th century. That carried on till the mid-1930s. During the war, it was taken over by the army, requisitioned as a sort of stores as part of the Halton Army camp. And after the war, it was used by a group of Polish soldiers who could not return back to Poland, who were looking some way of establishing an employment base for themselves. They originally rented the building and later they were offered to buy it, and they managed to get a loan from a local man in Lancaster. Other people will cover the history of that factory during the period sort of post-war up until the, I suppose, late 90s, when it ceased to be an engineering works. It was bought in 2010 by Lancaster Co-housing. It was then in a fairly derelict state, and it is now run as a managed workspace by a co-operative called Green Elephant, who rent out offices, workshops and rooms simply for people to have meetings or events in. The group of Polish soldiers initially tried their hand at anything. They erected huts in the local army camp, they did gardening jobs for people, and because a few of them had been engineers, they specialised in making small objects. They got a few lathes and they set up an engineering firm known as Loonside Engineering Company Halton Limited. They went on to make strange things like mechanical elephants and a car for an Australian car firm. But later on they became specialist small engineering works for people like BAE Systems, Lucas Aerospace and the submarine base at Barrow. The large rooms that were full of engineering machinery during the time of Loonside Engineering have now been divided up into small workshops. This one's used for pottery and woodwork. Next door there's a glass artist. And there are a number of classes and courses that have been run in the past here, in the jewellery making class. It's really nice that things are still being made here at Loonside. This is the former works canteen from Loonside Engineering, which has been transformed into a yoga studio. We've had to be fairly imaginative in terms of different uses of the building. We have a very wide mix of people in the building, ranging from a wedding photographer through a number of glass artists and an artist studio. We took over the building in 2012 and spent most of the money we had on renovation, making the building weathertight and putting services and rewiring the building. It's been up to tenants to kit out their office or workshop, and it took us about 3 or 4 years to find our feet. Apart from trying to tread water during these times in COVID, we now have a successful business here at Halton Mill. Hope you've enjoyed this tour and hope you enjoy the other talks as part of this study day.